Y'all, I swear to God, remind me never to do a mental health video the same day as another one. That took way too much out of me. Way too much. How's everybody doing? Let me put on some tunes. Sorry, I'm late. This one was 100% on me. I started looking up Harambe. Do you guys remember the gorilla? Looking up Harambe and like some other shit that I just like fell in a hole because I was like, I can't get up. So I was standing while I did it. Sitting is the new sitting is the new smoking. I saw some dad video a long time ago where they said that. Torshaa pole. I see you. Okay, let me get my life together. Is there anything? We're gonna do the whatever video, but is there anything else trending? Anything? It's loading. Has anybody tried to contact Daisy? You think she would come on my channel? Did you like the video? I know it's so annoying, but there's something, I guess, about the like button on vertical where it's in a really bad spot. So we doing the poll. Okay. No pressure. Where am I? Justice for Harambe. It was so fucked up. So fucked up. Shoes. I'm just kidding. I don't know what else to add in this video before we get started. I was thinking about doing a skincare one, but you know, it's the same shit. Different day. This is I have two retinaes, which is prescription tretinoin. And the second time I got the cream, hold on, I was just using it. It's this one. Maybe you've seen it if you've Googled it. This is the highest percentage. But then this one, my sister is an esthetician, so they got everything. It's like, you have prescription, try it, give it to me. And this is my second time she gave me hers, which is a lower percentage. And technically like tretinoin comes from the same, I'm pretty sure yeah, they're from the same place. Okay, a different place in Canada. Manufactured Valiant Pharmaceuticals and then Taro Pharmaceuticals. I swear, this one penetrates deeper. And this is a stronger one, so it's like crazy. Retin-A, vitamin A derivative that essentially turns over, well, yeah, I guess it's cellular turnover faster. But it penetrates deeper into the skin, doing other things. Just for anti-aging, for those that are wondering. But then I use it with the glycolic acid, but I'm also insane. It takes about a couple years to start doing it this way. Fortunately, my skin has not purged, which they say when you start using Tret, there's a purging period where you end up getting all these zits that were way deeper in your skin, but now that the skin's shedding, they will appear. People find it to be extremely irritating. The first time I used it, the third day I got a little bit of peeling because I went a little hardcore. Then I learned my lesson. You're really only supposed to use a tea what am I saying? Pea size by. But yeah, other than that, probably because I was using adapalene for like 3 months. If you guys don't have access to a doctor and you want something like tretinoin, there's two things you can do that I would recommend. One, you can do a telehealth. It's hard to say telehealth appointment, which you really aren't seeing a doctor. It's just there's a doctor signing off on it. You can do that through Amazon as well, which that was fast. I did Amazon for one of them, and it was like not even 10 minutes. I think you could choose to talk to somebody within the hour, within 30 minutes, or within a few days. I think those were the options. Cost $30. And they first prescribed me a Raslo. I was like, oh, this one's faster than Tret. Who cares? On my app where it shows when it's filled at the pharmacy, $580. What? What? Tret is probably not covered by insurance, but the actual tube of it was still pricey. Granted, I don't have insurance, but without insurance, it was $80. You can't find anything on GoodRx in this scenario, too. I looked, but you can, the first time I had it with a smaller dosage, I mean, same percentage strength, but a smaller tube of it. I think this is 45 or 90 days. I think it's 90. I had it in a smaller tube and it overall costed me, I think 60. There's a website, nurx.com. It's equivalent to like the Amazon pharmacy. It was more expensive over there. I would recommend going through the Amazon pharmacy. I think you also have to technically, I remember you had to put like 90 up front, but then they only charged 30 every time it was like 30 days. Something like that. But yeah, this is the only thing that we have that fixes most skin issues. Whether you want anti-aging, which is what they found it to be good for, but originally it was used for acne. Fun fact. If you don't have access or you don't want to spend that type of money, or you don't want to purge when you do it and you want to start off with something before that, I talk about it a lot. You can get Differin, Differin, Differin gel, and it's a adapalene gel. That was adapalene gel used to be prescription only. And then a couple of years ago, they made it over the counter. If that's the only product I would ever purchase aside from this in stores. Unless you're looking for things like, I don't know, like niacinamide, which helps with collagen production, like different specific ingredients. But I only use things that work. So I think adapalene is between $17.99 to maybe like $36, which is pricier in my opinion for like a product at the drugstore or whatever, but it does work. It'll say OTC because now it's over the counter. And that's going to be your closest to like a vitamin A derivative or retin A. I personally think retinols at the store are stupid because it has to go through a whole process that they're just not effective. And I don't have that problematic of skin. So I can only imagine how frustrating it is when you have like cystic acne or something, you're trying it and it's like, what the fuck? If you want to know if you have oily, dry, or combination skin, It depends on where your pores sit on your face. Combination is out here, you have pores, which is pretty rare. If you have dry skin, wait for it. If you have dry skin, your pores are here. Crazy, isn't it? Like, what? You would think that if you're oily, but no. If you're oily, then they are even further away, I believe. It's either that or that. I might have switched the first two, but crazy. Something I noticed when using this was that you can't technically shrink a pore. It's like a myth, but using this was the first time I was like, oh, it really did regulate like oil production because you couldn't see the pores. Know what I mean? If you ever look at people on TikTok or shorts and you're like, how the fuck do they have skin like that? And there's no filter. Either genetics or this. Got an oily T-zone. Yeah. Technically, you're dry. Like, make it make sense. Because you're like, but wait, it's shiny there. I don't know. Makes no sense to me. And I've been doing this a long time. But anyways. Less on that. Let's go to where we actually are supposed to go. Which is... Oh, I also think a dappling gel is on sale right now. I'm pretty sure. At Ulta, at least. Worth a shot. I think it's like between 10 and 14, but I've never seen it on sale, so. Mm-hmm. Here we go. Just going where we left off, baby. And it says, Brian tries to checkmate Andrew.
King is the most important piece. If the king gets got, the game's over. If the queen gets got, you can take a pawn and make a new queen. Sorry, yeah, but Mr. Wilson.
That wasn't my argument. My argument was that the queen's the most powerful piece on the board, and it is.
Faux show.
So lost 200.
And I do have a bone to pick with Andrew at some point if it could come up.
Yeah, I do have that in the notes. In fact, let me read one chat and then we'll get right to that. Okay. So, Killer of Cereal. Actually, I need to do this one too. Killer of Cereal. For the panel, which ethnicity have you dated the most? Would you not date a certain ethnicity? Why? Starting with our dear friend.
Can you pronounce it?
Yael?
Yeah. Okay.
Look at that. Right.
Sorry. I already lost my train of thought.
It was.
Oh, can it pull back?
Which ethnicity have you dated the most? Would you not date a certain ethnicity?
I've dated the most white people. I don't think
white boys.
There's. Sorry. No, I don't think there's any ethnicity I wouldn't date.
What about you? Well, you have it's basically asking if you got a type. You got a type, you know. You like them white boys, black guys, Latinos, Pacific Islanders, Native Americans?
I don't want to say on a live stream what my preference is on the basis of ethnicity.
That's fair. So you only date Vietnamese guys?
I don't think that ethnicity is the most important thing.
No, of course not.
And like in terms of like who I find attractive, I haven't really dated a whole lot of people, honestly. The guy that I dated was white, but I don't think that that's necessarily speaking to my type.
And actually, just curious, what is your ethnicity?
I'm half Chinese, half Italian.
Okay, all right. And what's your ethnicity? And then just what ethnicities have you dated? And would you not date a certain ethnicity?
I am white, but I'm like ethnic, like I don't know. I get confused sometimes, but I'm just like Latina, but I'm a white woman at the end. Okay. But I don't think I've had a preference so far. It's been pretty mixed with
Got a
everything.
mixed bag?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think like
All
type in general, just like more feminine guys.
You like more feminine
She's
guys.
on birth
Yes.
control.
Did you just say that, Nick? Nick said based. What? So what's like an example of a feminine guy? Like, can you think of a celebrity that, just so we know what you're kind of like into, you know?
Like a basic one. I feel like Timothy Chalamet.
I knew she was gonna
Yeah.
say
So he's kind of more
Kylie
feminine.
Jenner's.
I think
thing.
like yeah. Or
Are you
who
like
else?
you want to peg him, or like is that?
I find him just more attractive.
But you
I find like a man with feminine features tend to be more attractive to
sure.
me. Yeah.
What about? Are you on? Actually, I'm curious about this.
I was gonna ask.
Are you on birth control?
I have an IUD.
Hormonal or copper?
Hormonal.
So there's like this theory bouncing around that women who are on birth control start to like lean towards being more attracted to feminine men as compared to more masculine men.
That's been the trend my whole life. I got this only last year, so
Okay.
it's been like that.
All
At least
Show
for
us
me, I
your-
don't know.
Actually,
Wait,
going around the
wait,
table,
wait.
who here's on birth control?
Whenever I hear women talk about their dating prospects or who they've dated or what they're into, I literally always want to be like, show me your past, because I'm not saying that she's lying, but I'm saying there's like, it almost never correlates. Like, yeah, I'm into like and then you look, it's like an ogre. You know what I mean? It's like, I thought you were into more feminine dudes. Not really.
Which kind?
Pill.
Arm implant.
Nexplanon?
Mhm.
IUD.
Hormonal IUD?
No.
No birth control?
No,
No.
I've never been on birth control.
No, and I'm against hormonal birth control.
Okay. All right. Your answer to the ethnicity question.
I like men of all ethnicities. My boyfriend is Middle Eastern, but I like any ethnicity.
Sure.
I also don't have a preference on this ethnicity.
I prefer to date my own race, which is like Slavic guys.
I've only ever been with white guys, and I'm only attracted to white guys.
I have a type, blonde hair, blue eyes. It's kind of always been my type.
All right, there you have it. We have Anonymous. Brian, show this to the ladies. Hey, Anonymous, unfortunately, we're not really a thing here for people to submit video reactions. We don't really have the, maybe someday we'll offer a different tier for that, but I do appreciate your message, but we cannot just show randomly submitted videos. But thank you, man. Going back to you, you said you had some beef. You got
Wait
some
a
beef
minute,
with Andrew. Why don't you get into
before
that?
they get
What are
into
your-
it, Brian, that's where you draw the line. Video reaction. This man is savage. Like, what's your body count? Won't show like a 10-second clip. I just had to.
Quarrels and grievances and disagreements. Go ahead.
Well, I think Andrew Wilson is a very smart man, and I enjoy listening to his debates. One bone to pick with him is his treatment of women who are born again. In my experience, it sort of seems like you are extra harsh on them.
Wait.
and-
Okay, hold on. Before she finishes, because maybe I'm not up to date, but if I remember correctly, when Andrew talked about this with Rolo on stream, I think it was Rolo and them. Rolo, was it you? Let me know. But something like he was talking about Reformation. He's like, you guys don't think it's a good thing when they stop? Granted, I'm sure he doesn't recommend to go for a hoe, but I don't think he was like a hardcore. Have his views changed? Am I remembering it incorrectly? I don't know.
What I would think is that if you wanted the world to be less degenerate, that you would sort of welcome people wanting to change their ways. So I'm just curious what your motive is in being so harsh, and I'd love to hear about it.
Lights a sick.
Andrew, before you answer, can you just for the panel and then for the viewers,
Yeah,
Tell-
I mean,
tell-
for your OCD, yes, right here. I'm framed up.
No,
Framed up.
that's not. Just can you just give a rundown? So your denomination of Christianity?
Yeah, I'm a Eastern Orthodox Christian. I'm not a Protestant. I'm happy to get into this though, right? Because I think that that's a seemingly fair criticism on its face. But as you've seen from, can we agree on a couple of things first though? You've seen from tonight's panel, I basically only give out the same energy that I get. Is that a fair thing to say?
Sometimes
You'd
he's
have
too
to
nice.
elaborate on that more.
Meaning, unless you're being particularly hostile towards me, I'm not particularly hostile towards you.
I don't actually agree with that. I mean,
Have I been particularly hostile with you?
This is how I know. I say it all the time when I react to Andrew's videos. This man is way too fucking charitable. I just think that when people listen to him, they just either aren't paying attention to what's actually being asked, or they may have watched him debate somebody that maybe they like and Andrew doesn't. Like, I haven't seen an instance where he's done anything dirty thus far. Yet everybody seems to call him out on this. We need to do like if there's one that you guys think Andrew was implementing some dirty debate tactics. I hate when people say that. Put it in the chat. Because I used to be on debate, for those that don't know. I write debates off camera for YouTubers and whatever. I don't know if the YouTube space, just from what I've gathered, has ever partook in debate professionally in some regard. Like, it seems like it's just a bunch of people from Twitch that are trying to judge each other's moral character. It's a way to do it. It's a way to do it, but it's not like, that's why I enjoy watching Andrew's, because he specifically stays like to the format. So I don't know. You guys think he's ever done anything dirty, moving the goalpost? Okay, let's hear it.
not with me, but I think that I've noticed you being particularly hostile to this woman, and I've noticed you being particularly hostile.
How was
I
hostile with her? I thought that we had a good back and forth engagement.
I think that once you make your point, you keep going.
Actually, I see you guys in the chat. I don't talk about who I write debates for, but I will say the way that I came across Andrew's content was because a client, if you will, had a debate against them. I gotta be careful. And they had a debate like in the upcoming weeks or something like that. And so I do a lot of research on the opponent, heavily. So I was like in the chats and shit. And I was like, why did said client was frightened because Andrew's smart. I'm like, so you're frightened because they're intelligent, or you're frightened? Like, usually when people are scared of another person they're debating, it's usually because that person is really good. You know what I mean? But you can be intelligent and walk somebody through the whole format and be fine. Like I've said, when Andrew does other debates, that he'll literally walk you through it. He's not setting you up, aside from like the whatever thing with Daisy. Like that was a setup, but like, at least from my opinion. But so I'm sitting and I'm watching and I'm like, people think this man is mean. I would read the things on Reddit, really going in. I was like, I don't see it. I actually think this person's very friendly. But the more that, like, I'm just telling you what I've gathered from like things that I've heard, blah, blah, blah. Both people actually had a very good debate, if I don't say so myself. But yeah, like I sit through hours and hours just taking note. What ticks them off? What does this? Waha. Hi, Andrew. And I'm like, this is one of the more consistent ones, if I don't say so myself. It's very difficult for people to be consistent.
Hang on. Let me finish. I treat her exactly how I would treat any man who was sitting where she was who had a contrary opinion to my own.
True.
Sure.
Did I treat her differently than that?
No.
Okay, so then by your logic, then it's not just born again women who I would be brutal with in a debate, but also men, correct?
True.
Yeah, so I'm just going to treat both exactly the same.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so go ahead with the rest of your criticism. Just want to make sure we get this
Well,
squared out.
What I'm curious about is your intention when you come on and you, like, what is wrong with a woman deciding that what she was doing was wrong and she wants to change her ways? I haven't heard it on this panel tonight, but in a lot of the whatever podcasts, that's what I hear. Like, there were a couple girls sitting here, you know, and I don't know what's wrong with them deciding.
The mind blown I had when I realized that Andrew and Rachel are married. Like, I had read Rachel's book way before coming across his streams, and I'm just like, wait, those two are married? Shut the I like that. I like that a lot. But just like right before she gets in, how she's just like, I just don't like how you're not okay with like somebody just, and I'm thinking to myself, you mean an opinion? Like, why do you care what Andrew thinks? Like, that is wild to me. Like, can you be friends with people that have differing beliefs? I mean, all of my friends and I have differing beliefs. You know? I don't know. It's wild to me. Maybe it's more like a moderate right thing. Not saying it's political. It's just there's certain things about people that can you can kind of anticipate how they talk to you, at least behind the bar. It's like as far as I go. But it seems like moderate to right are a lot more cool with people having differing opinions. It's usually like the other side that will be like, oh my God, you don't believe in schmishmortion. We can't be friends. I'm like, really? Murdering babies? That's where you draw the line? Bold. You know what I mean, though? Do you guys agree?
Deciding that they don't want to do what they're doing anymore. And I don't know what kind of resume you have to have for you to not mock
Nothing's
them.
wrong with that.
Then why are you still mocking them?
No, well, okay, so I need you to try to separate two different things going on.
Okay.
So I believe that culture is downwind of theology and politics is downwind of culture. So I think that politics is informed by the culture and the culture is informed by theology. So imagine, to my chagrin, if you have women who will take Christianity and fuck it all up and twist it all up and mess it all up in order to appeal to other women and give them incorrect theology and then preach that incorrect theology. And so we end up tangling in a theological debate where they say all sorts of crazy shit like this.
Is he talking about somebody in particular? Or is he just shaming my gender? I feel like it makes sense. We're kind of annoying.
Yes, it's okay if you play with tarot cards and you're a Christian.
Oh, no!
Or alternatively, yes, it's okay to be a magic user and a Christian. Or alternatively, yes, there's no, you were a prostitute, but that's very similar to people smoking cigarettes. You can imagine my chagrin hearing that from these women, because it seems like they're trying to placate other women into bringing them into a false faith, which I think apostatizing is worse than anything else. So I think coming into false Christianity is almost as bad as the degeneracy itself.
Okay, that's a great answer. What I would say back to you is that the way that you argue, it doesn't seem like you have a lot of love. It doesn't seem like it's coming from love. Like, there was one woman.
Not coming from love. It's coming from logic.
But
I don't make argumentations
but Christ's
based on
law
my
is
emotions.
in love. I mean, is man for law or is law for man?
Dude, like when I was younger, if I did something I probably shouldn't have been doing, like stole a pack of gum, really young. It's just like, God loves me. Like, it's such a cope. Is it not? Like, can we agree? I don't hear men doing that either, which is funny.
There was one woman who was here
It
and
has nothing
she
to do with
turned
law.
around. Will you let me finish, please? She turned around and said that she didn't want to do her old ways anymore.
way
She
you
had
say
already
it.
come so far.
Done.
She had a husband, she had a ministry, and you were on here like getting on her about
Did you say she had a
law.
ministry?
Yeah. And that's
Did
what you were
hang
getting
hang
on
I just
her
want to be
about.
sure I'm clear.
That's
Did
what you
say
were
she
getting
had a
on her
minis-
about.
Hang on, stop. My turn now. Did you say she had a ministry?
Of women.
Yeah, are women allowed to have ministries?
That's what you say, but I don't agree with that.
Right, you don't agree with that. You're preaching a false doctrine. You want women to be clergy. You
I
want
think
women to
that
lead
you
women inside of a. Hang on, let me finish.
I'd
Inside
like
of a
to have a word.
patriarchal. Okay, you tell me when I'm allowed to respond.
But
to your
yet she
points.
tells
Go
him,
ahead.
"Don't cut
Okay.
me off."
I think that when you preach out of this like intent to mock women, I mean your base is men. Like I feel like when
Who's
you
gonna
come
tell
on
her?
these things, I mean correct me if I'm wrong, but it feels like your intent is to mock women for these comments. And
Someone's got it.
I don't see how that is helping the world be better. I understand what you're saying, that you don't want women
Because women do really bad, aka good, with shame. Shame is ultimately the only recourse they have to get people into the right behavior. Don't believe me? We talked about this actually in a video. Michael Foucault. We like his books. We don't like him. Questionable. But he actually talks about, was it in Mass Civilization or Religiosity? I forget which book. Probably both, to be honest with you. He's pretty congruent with his ideas in multiple books. But he talks about how, like, the church, forgive me, the church, when getting somebody to, what do you call it? Confess their sins, that is keeping them accountable of the way you should uphold the church, and that everybody, I forget what the word is, but since everybody has that responsibility, it keeps everybody else in check on the macro. I'm probably not explaining it that well, but shame is one of the only recourses towards certain behaviors. It's kind of like why can't I be, or why can't I be a hoe? Because hoe would go against things like virtue, bitch. Okay. And in order to implement things like virtue, character, and all that good jazz, sorry, Christians, I'm doing my best, or Catholics, or both, they would have to keep each other in check, pretty much. Okay, that was the nerd ADD answer. Let's see what he says.
The false doctrine, but at the same time, it just seems like it's not coming from love, that you are like, women want to turn away from porn or turn away from like what they've been doing, and you are like berating them, you're criticizing them, you're making it like you're embarrassing them and making it hard for other women who are maybe viewing this to turn their own ways. And to me, that's making degeneracy grow. Like you are enabling this hate women sort of mentality, in my opinion. That's how it comes off to a woman watching the show. It's like you are not able to turn away from what you want to turn from.
What?
Can I add to that? And I don't want to like be judgmental.
No, you can't add to that because we're in the middle of having a conversation. And then you can add to
Women.
it. So am I allowed to respond to these points now? Now, can you admit that I did not interrupt you at all while you were going through that? Great. So let's go through it one at a time. One, that's just tone policing. You never made a single argument. Why do I want people to come into a false faith? Why do I want that? That's bad. Not only that, but let us assume for a second that you don't know my end of it, how many people reach out to me after these shows who are women who say, thank you for challenging my worldview. I never thought of things like that at all.
Aww.
Or I know I got demolished, or how many hundreds of women send me DMs outside of this show who say it's due to your argumentation, your logical argumentation, that I came over to this. You're making arguments which are appealing to emotion. You're saying emotionally, when I hear what you say, it emotionally makes me feel bad. Well, that's great, but I need you to understand that I don't give a shit how it makes you feel. What I care about is what is logically true and consistent, and what I care about is the argument. You might say, so for instance, imagine this. You would agree with me that there's going to be a lot more Christians if we include homosexuals into Christianity, right?
I don't know. I wasn't brought up in church. I don't know.
Okay, but you would agree that if you had a church which barred homosexuals and then the church allowed homosexuals in, that you would have a lot more.
Andrew, avoid that topic if you can.
Okay.
Really?
Could I respond to what you said?
If it was people of the same sex.
Hold on.
If you let
if she's saying you like hate women, it's like, well, if Andrew really loved men in the way you pretty much imply, then don't you think he would be fine with the gays in the church? Okay. I'm just kidding. I'm just fucking.
More of them in, right? You would agree that you would have a much larger congregation, right?
Yeah.
But you can't allow people to defeat what the purpose of the religion is because they choose not to wake up one day and go, I'm not going to be a prostitute anymore. And then I need you to respond to my last point, and this is the one that I really want you to focus on. There's a lot of women who utilize Christianity and the faith of Christianity to hide behind, and they become reformed not because they have found Christ at all, but because they use Christianity as a shield from criticism. And that, I believe, is where most of the tone policing from women comes from. That you're utilizing tone policing to say, no, you're not allowed to criticize me now because I've turned away from my degenerate ways. No, that's not the purpose of Christianity either, is that now suddenly you're above criticism. That's not how that works.
You know what I think about?
Yeah.
Hold on, I don't know if I'm too much in a thought. And I might be speaking broadly, but think to yourself, what is something that maybe women or men want to do that the church says, no, you shouldn't do that? It comes down to shame, right? But think of all the reasons somebody would say to themselves, you know what? I should be able to do this despite what God says because XYZ. That XYZ, it never justifies it. Think about it. I know I've like made that really vague. Rewind it. Okay. But like, just ask yourself if a man or woman wanted to do a certain thing that God said, I don't like that. You know, I don't think it's good for you, healthy for you, whatever. And that person was like, well, forget what he would say. I'm going to do it anyway because he loves me, whatever. And the reason that they give never justifies it. Believe me, I've thought so many ways they can, and it makes you wonder. I don't know if I'm too much in a hole, but it's like if you can never find a justifiable reason to do it, why do you still do it and suffer in some regard at some point? Like, I don't know, just a thought.
Oh, about your stance on tone. I know about that, and that's not actually what offends me.
Torrie,
what offends me is actually your use of the law against women, because I don't think that like that woman who was here, who had been born again, and she had gone such a long ways. And it doesn't matter the way you say it. Like, I know how your stance on tone, so it's fine by me. But you were saying that she was somehow not worthy of being who she was because she was teaching other women.
Wait, what?
I don't think you said
that's right. So let me respond to both of these points. Point one, she can't teach other women because women can't be clergy in Christianity. Two, she made it a point that niceness was a part of Christian doctrine, and it's not, and it never has been. And I pointed out that this is not a Christian virtue. She's teaching falsely. Women cannot be clergy in Christianity, period. They're not allowed to be clergy, period. Never. Not even
I don't
once.
like
They're
it.
not allowed to even once. You can't be like, oh, we're just funning. We just made one for the fun of it. Even if the results of it, you could argue the results or the consequences of this might be better in some way. It doesn't matter. The purpose of the religion is not that
I won't submit to a lot of men, but I would 1000% submit to a Christian man. I don't know why. Because he's being led in a good way. I don't trust any of the other ones. No offense.
consequences are always good. That's not the purpose of the religion.
I understand. So I do know that that's backed up biblically. And I'd also like to say that in 1 Timothy, it says, treat older women like your mothers and treat younger women like they're your sisters with purity.
Who's going to tell her? Who's going to tell her? I already know where this is going.
And I'm wondering, where do you follow the law on that?
Well, so yeah, let's dive into this. We're talking about matrons, you're talking about Paul in this case, and I quote this quite a bit myself. And when you're talking about matrons and how matrons are supposed to teach, they're supposed to teach from a position of a pure heart to only women. They're not supposed to have a ministry. Ministry would imply both. It's okay for matrons to give matronly
woman
wisdom.
said
Hang
it
on,
was
hang on.
women.
Let me finish. I'm answering the question. It's okay for matrons to give matronly wisdom, but they're not allowed to teach the gospel. They're not allowed to do that. That's not their place.
I said it before, I'll say it again. I believe the Bible was created for men by men. Because like when women are mentioned, it's not often. Not saying that it's like a sexist, but that's not what I'm saying at all. Actually, kind of think I'm kidding, but I truly believe that the Bible was created to govern men's behavior. And I don't think it's a sexist thing to say that women shouldn't minister. But when you guys hear some of my hardcore takes, if you will, where I talk about things that kind of piss off men a bit, and one of them being like governing men's behavior, like men don't like that. But I'm not talking about good men. I'm talking about the bad men, where those men need to be also accounted for. And you can't really guarantee that they will go to church, right? So it's up to like a brotherhood, a whole thing. But when you think about it like that, and you think, you know, if women could govern men's behavior, then why do so many men that commit crimes come from single mother homes? There's also because dad's not there. But like, women cannot govern men's behavior. They can't do it. Not because they're weak, not because of anything bad. It's just that, well, it depends how you want to look at it. Like, I don't know if it's just the XY. They have to be told by a man. Period. Okay, bye.
They're not allowed to be clergy.
Well,
If she
why
was
are
just
you
talking to her
allowed
daughter-
to not
Hang on,
treat women
almost
with
done,
respect?
Almost done. Didn't cut you off. Almost done. If she was just talking to her daughter.
And the reason it's not misogynistic, hear me out, is because I don't think, like, there's a lot of women that do bad, just like there's men that do bad. But the makeup of a woman and the makeup of a man, women are more, in my opinion, the good ones. They're more wholesome. They take on, they do, not wholesome, like men are like psychopaths, but it's just, we're not pumped with testosterone. Testosterone really changes the lens in which men see the world. Not in a bad way, it just is. It's just science, you know what I mean? So asking a woman to refrain from sex or whatever is going to be easier. I know they're all hoes. I hear you, but think about sex drive just for like 2 seconds. Like when you tell a woman to refrain from sex, she could do it. You tell a man and it's like, for like what good reason? Especially in a society where men sort of judge each other based on how much punene they get. It's like you would have to hear it from a man to refrain. You know what I'm saying? Is that a hot take? Like I used to think, oh, a woman can't preach. Bullshit. But when they talk about women in the home, that's not the same thing. And people are like, well, what? We're only good for in the home. When I hear about things that go on within the home, that's everybody's livelihood. That tells me you're kind of a fucking boss. You know what I mean? Like, sure, husband gets last say, but husband's also probably scared sometimes of woman. She's so strong. You know? Like, you can't tell me Italian women don't run that shit. Thank you. Suki al mio cazzo. Putana. Like the video.
about the gospel, things like this, fine. Okay, but saying I'm a minister, I'm a part of clergy, and teach women as a part of a church clergy is wrong. Period. It's wrong across the board. It's
Okay,
wrong
I
theology.
disagree.
Do you know
I
what's also
disagree.
wrong? Smoking cigarettes and drinking alcohol, which you've been doing the whole time. You know, if we're going to talk
Why is
about
that wrong?
fall, because
Go
your
ahead, tell me
body
why it's
is
wrong.
a temple.
Because
Your
what is
body
it?
is a temple.
Oh yeah, where's that said in the Bible?
It
Did you
is
just make
said
it
in the
up?
Bible, and you're
Yeah, where?
ruining your
Where does it
temple.
say it?
And it does say you're not supposed to get drunk because
Am
you're
I
going to make.
drunk?
I'm not. I'm
Who's
just
gonna
saying.
tell her? Who's gonna tell her? Okay, maybe it's different religions, but like my friends that converted to Judaism, they be drinking. They have a good time on Shabbat. You know, like, what are you talking about? You can't drink. Is that really a thing? Are you really not supposed to? I mean, I'm sure to an extent, but come on. Jesus juice? Like, what?
And you're drinking alcohol and you're smoking
And
cigarettes. You're
is
ruining
drinking
your
alcohol
temple.
a problem?
No, I'm just saying if you're going to talk about
So
Christianity,
drinking alcohol is not a problem. Okay, so then why'd you bring it up as being a problem from a Christian perspective?
getting drunk is any
And
kind of
am I
altercation.
drunk?
I don't know. Are you?
Well, let's see.
I'm
I don't
just
know.
saying,
We've been
if you're
at this
gonna
show for
judge-
5 hours. We've been at the show for 5 hours.
if you're
I've
gonna
had 3
judge-
beers. Do you think I'm drunk?
I don't know, but if you're gonna judge, then you know you have to get judgment back. So
And
I'm just
that's
saying,
fine.
and a
You
good
can judge me
Christian
back.
actually
so you
doesn't
have
judge.
judged. Hang on. So you have judged
I
that Christians are not
wish
allowed to drink.
other people did their research on Andrew. Like, it's such a lame thing. Like, they always think, maybe this is just what I've witnessed, but it seems like they always think they like did a gotcha. Like, can you come up with something better? You know? Like, it's so boring. Like, you smoke. Okay, and you're ugly.
Drink alcohol. Is
No.
that correct?
That's not what I'm saying
Well,
at all.
then
I'm just
why
saying
did you bring that
can't
up as a
say that you're so
criticism of
you
me?
can't say that you're so righteous if you're sinning as well. And sins are the same in the
Well, tell
Bible.
me why I
Hold on.
can't drink. Tell me why I can't drink.
One
It
sec.
does
Why-
not matter
why?
if you are
Tell me
offended.
why.
The truth is what matters. She was calling herself a pastor, which is not possible, and a lie. A lie is a sin. Teaching from a place of lies furthers the sin.
Yes.
Tell me where. Tell me why I'm not allowed to drink beer while I'm doing a podcast. Tell me why that's sinful. Tell me why that's wrong. Go ahead.
You can do whatever you want, and I'm not judging you.
Because, Andrew, you didn't offer us any. Duh. Am I right?
Okay. That's not what I
But
asked
I think
you.
what
said,
you're
how
trying
is
to
it
say-
sinful?
If you're ruining your temple, which is God's body for you,
So
right?
do I ruin my
that is a
temple when I
sin.
eat a donut?
Just like a prostitute is ruining her body. It's the same thing.
Oh,
A
yeah.
sin is a
Oh,
sin.
it's
It
the
says
same
in the
thing.
Old
So I'm ruining
Testament,
my-
right? They are
Am I
equal
allowed,
sins.
am I allowed to eat a
Lying,
donut?
stealing.
Am I allowed to eat a donut?
No.
Technically, no. It's bad for your body.
No, I'm not allowed to eat
I
a
mean,
donut.
if
Am I
we're-
allowed to breathe oxygen?
I mean,
Because
you
that
have
decays
to.
my body over time.
But if you're talking about putting like high fructose corn syrup and all those bad things in your body, it is
I'm not
technically
allowed
a
to
sin
have a
because
Coke?
it is your temple.
So
I'm
not
not
allowed to
saying
have
we're
Coke.
perfect, but I'm just calling you out.
Wait,
as
wait,
I
wait,
mean,
hang
to
on,
go
hang on.
off what
I
she's
want to make
saying.
sure. Hang on, stop. Now you know. Now, if you want to know why it is I'm so hard on these women, now you know. Because this woman next to you just told me that it's sinful to drink. She couldn't back it up. Right? She did make
It is
an
sinful to
actual.
drink.
Hang on, stop. My turn now. She did make an actual biblical appeal, but she didn't know where it was. She just heard it in passing. On top of that, she said, "I can't drink a Coke. I can't eat a donut. Right? I can't do anything." Apparently, Christians aren't allowed to do anything because if we eat a donut,
not what I
that's
said.
like sucking 100 dicks like a prostitute, right?
That is
Isn't that
not
like
what I
that?
said.
Isn't it
That's
like
not
that?
what I said.
I feel like there's a lot more bad. Maybe this is a hot take, but there's more bad that comes from that one scenario that's like the prostitution. There's more bad that comes with it. At least in America right now in this whatever, except for certain parts of Nevada. But then the food thing, it's really only one. Has anybody ever brought that up? I'm sure they have. But I guess you could say that there could be a ripple effect, like if you become obese or some shit. But like, why is it that every person I know who's religious is a social drinker? Not like they drink at home, not like nothing like that. Like they're social drinkers. Like they have a drink when they're with their friends and family, and that like it is what it is. Like, has that been a bad thing? Ooh. Oof. I don't know. And can't you smoke in certain... We need Red Pill Arabic. He smokes. Shit.
Yeah, well, isn't that an entailment? I'm sorry, isn't that an entailment? Isn't sucking 100 penises like me eating a donut? Go ahead.
Well, I think what she's trying to say, which she can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think what she's trying to say is that everybody has all these like sins, whether they're hidden or not. Okay,
like
I'm not saying what you're doing is a sin. I don't know you. You know, I don't know what in the context of it. I'm just saying.
You can't tell me what I'm doing is a sin or not. You don't have judgment.
No.
You don't have discernment. You can't discern what's a sin.
No. Not
then
in
why
your
should
life.
I take your word for anything when it comes to Christianity? You can't even discern what's a sin.
It's between you and God, Andrew. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna look into your life. Yeah, you can have whatever criticisms you have about me. You know, that's fine. All I'm saying is that
have I made any personal criticisms about you?
I don't
Seems like all the criticisms have to come from you guys to me.
Keep saying this until men are saying it randomly in chats. I want to see y'all because I'm in chats a lot. I'm looking. Darvo. Anytime you're like, she was manipulating or she was gaslighting, DARVO stands for, hold on. Deny, attack, and reverse victim and offender. Did you notice how she was like, no, it's fine. Like trying to make Andrew look crazy. Yeah. Deny, attack, reverse victim, offender. Okay. This is what, not necessarily a narcissist, but somebody who's implementing some form of gaslighting or manipulation usually does it in this order, almost like 90% of the time. Okay, let's go back.
What you just said was that you can't trust what I say about God. And that's fine because, like I said, I didn't.
That's not a personal criticism. That's an entailment of your logic.
And
if you say, I cannot make any judgment on another person's sin, then you have told me that you cannot discern what is sin.
Well,
you are incapable of telling me what is sinful. So why would I ever listen to you?
For another person, for myself, I think I can tell for myself, but I don't know, I don't know your whole grand scheme of things. I think for some people, drinking could be a sin. For some people, it could not. I'm just saying, I don't think that I could adequately point at your sins.
Wait,
and I stand by that.
But this is a bit of a whataboutism about his drinking. Wait. I do want to quickly bring it back to your point about...
If you don't plan, like, can we break that down for a second? I'm not judging you. I'm just saying blah, blah, blah. Like, wait a minute. You brought it up. So do you care? So you don't care. Then why'd you bring it up? You just destroyed your entire anything. I wouldn't really say it was an argument. I don't know. Like, oh, it just bothered. I didn't mean it like that. It's like, I don't even know if women and men know that they contradict themselves like that.
So
cognitive dissonance.
Christian, correct?
I am.
And so do you think that women can be pastors? What's your denomination, by the way? Are you Protestant?
Well, I did not know.
They all are.
No, I did not grow up in church.
I dress up as the Pope for Halloween. Are the Christians, Catholics, going to be mad at me? Is that mean? I was born Catholic.
It grew up a different religion.
What's your denomination?
I do not have a denomination.
Yeah, right. You're non-denominational. All of you are always non-denominational.
Which is fine.
But so can women be pastors?
I don't know.
But I'm asking because you objected
Biblically-
to his position, and biblically it would
Almost.
seem to indicate that women can't be pastors from a Christian worldview.
Grid 1 Motorsports donated $200. None of the things you have pointed out, ladies, are sins. The crone you are referencing committed fetus deletus, which is an actual sin. Why do you support?
What are the 7 deadly sins? Pride. Isn't independence? No, pride. I just know that all the holidays represent one of the deadly sins. Do you guys know that? Crazy. Thanksgiving, gluttony, pride, 4th of July. What are the other ones? Is adultery one? Valentine's Day. Which one's the one where you want a lot of gifts? Christmas. Christmas. Think about it.
Support such a person? You ladies need to study.
Thank you.
You're wondering why these entanglements happen. These entanglements happen because people try to tell me what's what when it comes to this. That's fine, you can, but then you should expect an argument, and you should expect me to argue in favor of my worldview.
I know.
Which arguably I can make an argument right now. Even if I knew nothing else, I could tell you that if somebody.
I know, but do you want to know the number one sin? Christians, you tell me if I'm on point or not. The worst sin from the Bible, if I had to pick one, would be pride. Am I right?
Somebody's saying that me drinking a Coca-Cola or having a beer is similar to prostitution, they're insane. That's ludicrous on its face.
Well, I don't think that anybody here said that. And I also
well then why can't I eat a donut?
I don't think that anybody here ever said that. I think that
She said I can't eat a donut.
No,
I'm going to tell you what she said. She said I can't eat a donut because it's polluting the temple. Just
there was
like
a pastor who said if you drink water when you're supposed to be worshiping the Lord, then drinking water could be a sin. And I just want to ask you, Andrew, like
that's true.
Seriously, I have a serious question for you. Like I know that you
have
have
to church. I'm just like wondering. Why do we drink the sip of wine and the little bread? Help. I got kicked out of CCD because I couldn't pay.
have problems with everyone's going to have a lack of education in the beginning when they find Jesus. But do you not want people to find Jesus?
Then why are they calling themselves pastors?
I'm not calling myself a pastor. I'm saying I don't know.
If they don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
So
why would you do that?
You think that if Jesus saw someone who said, I love God and I want to turn away from sin, he would be like, you don't know enough?
You mean Pharisees? Yeah, he did it all the time.
No, he did not tell the Pharisees they didn't know enough. He told them that what they were doing was corrupt.
Listen, I'm telling you right now that there's plenty of people who have false ministries who are running around saying they do. There's been women on this panel who I've tangled with.
But you're not answering my question. My question is...
I'm answering it directly.
No, you're not.
Deny, say it with me. Deny, attack, reverse offender. I'm missing one. You're not answering. He absolutely is, ma'am. If you ever want to get a really good comeback, which I'm not promoting bullying ever, just for friendly debates to make people shut up. Mention something about the age. I don't know why, but it seems to trigger the most. It's like, it's just something to think about. I know you're already 31, but just think about it. They won't say anything after that.
Yes, I am. They've said directly to me that they have visions from God and that they're prophets of God. I've heard that they've said it to me.
Andrew,
what do you want me to say to these?
They're mentally ill.
You're delusional.
What do you want? What do you want? Like, do you want women to be degenerate or do you want them to turn their ways? What do you want?
Well, I'm sorry.
Called accountability,
Again, I'm gonna
lady.
tell you, you can do both. It's not a bifurcation. It's not I'm going to use Christianity as a shield while I preach a false gospel. That's a bifurcation. You can do both.
Jeremy
you can both
donated
not be a prostitute
$200.
and be a real Christian.
Have
can
you
do
looked
both
in the
those
mirror,
things.
blonde tubby? Girl 1, pull your jacket up. G2, less makeup. The Bible is ambivalent towards alcohol, considering it both a blessing and potential danger from God.
I do need
Preach,
to.
Andy.
Yeah, hey Jeremy, thank you.
Hang on, let me finish this up. Though,
Okay, quick point though.
Ryan.
Quick
I'm almost
point.
done.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, so back to this. You can do both. But don't tell me that just because you turned away from degeneracy 15 years ago and now you have a ministry as a female, that I'm not allowed to tangle with you theologically because I never was a prostitute. I don't get to say I was never a prostitute, so now I'm above criticism. But you're telling me that because they have stopped being prostitutes, now they're above me criticizing their theology. That's absurd.
Like,
I don't think you're
okay. Let's look at it in a different realm. All it is accountability. They just don't like it. It's what I've gathered. Like, what if a person who used to sell copious amounts of decided to be a pharmacist? I know. Forgive me. It's a horrible example. I'm thinking out loud. Wouldn't you want, well, maybe the patient wouldn't give a, you know what I mean? But if you were going to hire the pharmacist, that's probably something you would want to know because it's probably going to influence their behavior later. It doesn't always. You could be changed. You could, actually, it's a great example. You could be changed. Okay. You did your time, whatever. But the threat doesn't go away. And quite honestly, a lot of people relapse, or like a lot of people that have partook in something oftentimes go back. It's a fault in humans. It just is. Some are more predisposed than others, but essentially, past behavior is a good indicator of future behavior in order to protect yourself, aka if you're a dude. Like, I always tell the women, if you were a hoe, be honest with the guy. You'd be surprised. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like guys, yes, they honor purity 100%, but they also honor honesty. It's when the men will marry, let's say, a single mom from church or something, like newly reformed. But then they find out later, because you just out of sight, out of mind, baby, finds out later that his cousin that she didn't even know was his cousin, she did like a gangbang with. Nobody wants to learn that later. It's kind of like equivalent to when, in some regard, that like you find out your partner cheated on you. Like, who was I married to this whole time? You know that feeling? I would equate it to that. I would equate it to that. Obviously, with nuance.
They're above you criticizing their theology. I just think that the way that you approach them from an outside
Quite honestly, like if I want to be really hardcore with it, when you lie or you're not honest to somebody about your past, you essentially take away their ability to make proper informed consent. Yes, ladies. But it shouldn't matter. Okay, well, it shouldn't matter that you want a guy that's 6'5", but here the fuck we are. You wanting trees and shit.
Someone watching the podcast, it comes off hateful. It comes off hateful. That's just
I'm sorry
what I'm
about your emotional state. You'd have to talk to the thousands of people who it doesn't come off hateful to, but rather would prefer to see these people confronted because nobody's ever confronted them. And they get to just basically run around, do whatever the hell they want. There's never any ideological pushback at all. So what you're saying, but I just want you to let you know that this is what I hear. What I hear is, but they're not prostitutes anymore. So isn't that good enough? Yet, interestingly enough, where's my extra credit for never having been a prostitute? I don't get any. And yet my theology can still be criticized. Isn't that interesting? But theirs can't be because they stopped sucking dick a few years ago. Ridiculous.
Haram.
I think that you
Hold
have
on,
fair game to criticize them. I think that that's totally fine.
Why are
I've
you
never been a
mad?
prostitute either. All I'm saying is that I think for the like health and well-being of the world, it would be great to be more welcoming to those people. That's all I'm saying. If you want to turn away, I think it's a great thing. Turn away. That's all I'm saying.
Do you guys
Yeah.
want a tip for when you watch like red pill-esque content? If you didn't know, Rollo talks about this all the time. He's written about it many times. There's a few things you can expect when having any discussion about women's bad behavior. NAWALT, not all women are like that. That's what it stands for. Then you have, you guys were saying shame the need to be right. I heard that through Kevin Samuels. I find that that's just kind of like people that get defensive. I feel like that could be both genders, but hey, shit, probably that too. You can be like, I don't like how you said it. Tone policing, like he called out. This one I don't like because I use it and I'm very aware of when I use it. Every single time I have used it, it pops in my brain. They're going to think you're one of that, one of those, but I use it for other reasons. And I just feel like when I use it, I'm trying to build a bridge with somebody to see my worldview. But a lot of times, like it comes out, like, I feel like that's like wrong. They're always tone policing. It always has to do with tone policing. And then what else? I feel like I'm missing one. Women do this thing. And it's men know what I'm talking about. I'm sure. But it's especially in the space. Women will be like, not all women are like that. Actually, I do this contradiction often. Not all women are like that. But then in other scenarios, I'm a woman, so I should know. So which is it, bitch? You know what I mean? Like either you're not like them hoes or you're like all them hoes. Like, but they pick it for different scenarios. I do it all the fucking time. I'm aware of every time I do it too. I'm very aware of my contradictions. I can point it out the second that I say it, usually. If I don't, because I watch back videos, it's because I misspoke. Other than that, bye.
Yeah.
Can't take accountability.
That's a great first step, but that doesn't mean that now all criticism gets to fly by night. Doesn't mean that you get to pull a Nala and do I'm done with the OnlyFans. Well, that's fantastic. But when people say, okay, but where's the compensation to the thousands that you've wronged? How are you going to make amends for these horrific things that you did, which even a court would have an expectation that you paid compensation for people you victimized? And yet somehow they can use this as a shield from criticism, whereas those who've never engaged in such horrific activity get no additional credit for never having engaged in it. It's ridiculous.
The only reason, like, it's like they don't want the criticism. Like women will often say, like, you shouldn't say that because you're shaming them about like pretty much everything we're talking about now. And but why? Because you don't want, like, think about it. Why shouldn't we shame somebody? Anybody? Because it makes her feel bad. Fuck your feelings. With love.
Gotta move things on. We have GR
However,
Gracie.
this is not black and white, okay? It's not black and white. It's not always the case. It's just a trend I see in this space, specifically with the same repetitive topics. Does that mean that it's always the case outside in your real life? Probably not. So if you're ever like, F these hoes, and then you go to your workplace and you're like, fucking Betty was like, not all women, like, it's probably not the same thing. I can almost guarantee it's not. Don't judge Betty that hard. Tori, that contradicts itself. It absolutely does. I don't know why. Okay, but you have to remember, you have like YouTube and then you have real world. And one of my biggest criticisms of these sorts of spaces is they make it seem like everything translates here. And as a bitch who can point out when she contradicts herself, I take notice of these things. They're not the same. Just saying. This is for entertainment purposes only, folks. Like the video if you haven't liked it already.
The ladies of certain segment of society predictably make logical decisions primarily based on the emotions. Is the world better off if that segment of society chooses its leaders/laws? Is the world better off if that segment of society chooses?
Wait, what?
Wait.
What?
Certain segment of society predictably make illogical decisions based on emotions. Is the world better off if that segment of society chooses its leaders and laws?
Just busy sitting over here.
He's got
That's what America is kind of known for. We make laws on feelings. Is it always right? No. But we're ahead in that regard. At least we were. Maybe not so much anymore. But think about it, like, we're in America. You know, there's people that want to come here because of the freedoms. And the freedoms are because people said, hey, that's not right. Whether religious or not, they are on feelings. And they've always been that way, historically. Some backed with more evidence than others. That's who we are, baby.
Wife made these delicious cookies for me.
Get a donut, Andrew. You need a donut.
Well, it's horrifically. I'm going to wash it down with a beer too. I mean, how dare I eat a cookie and drink a beer and criticize a prostitute?
Can I say something on that?
I mean, I really need to pull the plank out of my own eye.
You degenerate. Go ahead.
Okay, all I'm saying is I don't know who they is. The devil is trying to keep you enslaved, right? So the more things that you're doing in your life that are going to keep you in a low vibrational, whether it's eating sugar, drinking alcohol, smoking cigarettes, those types of things are going to keep you in a low vibration, and you're not going to be able to get closer to God when you're in that state. That's why Mormons don't allow you to have caffeine, right?
Should we be at 96.8 hertz for our vibration?
And I'm not trying to sound like a new age hippie at all. I'm just saying
sure
that
sound like one.
Alcohol definitely.
I could only imagine what Rachel is saying in the chat right now. Like, you guys should check out the book Occult Feminism. You can't unsee anything when it comes to like the brainwashing that's happened with the fucking new age spiritual shit. I dabble in it. Not all the time. Not anymore. Not like hardcore dabble, but like if somebody wants to read my palm, I'm not going to say no. It absolutely has never been a justification for anything I've done. That is just a cope, my friends. But like there's just so much like brainwashing I see in it. It's so interesting to see how it's still prevalent.
Brings you down to the third dimension, right?
The third dimension? How many dimensions are there?
We don't know.
I don't know.
Erroneous.
Haven't been there.
Erroneous.
Yeah,
all right. Let me move it on.
Interstellar is my favorite fucking movie. Okay, I'll shut up.
Move it on. Let me move it on.
You're not allowed to criticize theology, Andrew. After all, drinking beer brings you down to the third dimension, right?
You're not going to be able to get closer to God doing those things.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. I'll be down in the third dimension.
Just give me quick answers on this one. If a certain segment of society predictably make illogical decisions primarily based on emotions, is the world better off if that segment of society chooses its leaders and laws?
If you're talking about if women should vote, I obviously think women should vote. Hello.
I don't know if that's what the question is asking, but you can take it however you want. You can take it however you want.
I'm going to choose to take it not in the context of women and say, why would we let a bunch of toddlers run the world? We wouldn't, so no.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people still vote emotionally or like chooses their leaders based on emotions and like things. So no, I'd say like don't take like let them vote as well.
Well, the question is the world better off?
I don't.
If they get to choose who the leaders are and what the laws are.
They already do.
Everyone's allowed to vote, so I don't think
Okay,
that
all
privilege
right,
should
all
go.
right, all right. Go ahead.
I think anybody affected by the law should be able to vote for the law.
Yeah, anyone under the law should vote for the law.
I agree. Everyone should vote.
The world would not be better, and they should not.
I agree. The world would not be a better place. I think people should vote more logically, not emotionally.
Who's gonna tell it?
For those of you said whoever's impacted by
Nobody
the law,
votes logically. Even though, like, my side is just particularly more logical. I bet the other side feels the same way. Like, nobody does. Because, like, if we did, we could get past the fact that we've had, like, horrible options, you know? But, like, everybody, this is the one I gotta go with. Not particularly my favorite, but the right side, you know, or the bad side. I'd be careful. I'm on thin ice.
law should be able to have a say. Do you guys think that since women are in the privileged position of not being subject to forced military conscription, that they should not be able to vote on matters that have to do with, any sort of scenario, voting for a war, for example? To go to war, since women are not subject to forced military
Draft us. Women are not allowed in. Bitch, I'm mentally ill, but I'm coming and I'm bringing my friends. Women can't be in. Fuck. The worst moment to fucking forget what it means when you're in a position that ultimately is like on the battleground. What do you call that? God. Throw the whole bitch away. What is it called when combat? Not combat, but combat. What are the positions that actually involve, you know, doing bad things? I want to be there. Yeah. I think it should go back to how it used to be in regards to being able to pay a substitute. Okay. Like if Jennifer is like a weenie, you know. But let's be honest, like some of the people in the army love you. But like we could put them at other tasks. But I want to be on the battleground. Okay, move aside. Don't revive me if I die. Revive like this is a fucking video game. Tell my dad I love him.
Into that.
Yeah, I feel like you should still be able to vote because it's like politicians deciding, making laws for us civilians who
Infantry.
have to go to like
Thank
public
you,
education.
Derek.
They didn't have to go to public education. Their kids don't have to.
Not
go to
really
public
answering my
education.
question, but so do you think female politicians should be able to vote to, let's say, to vote to have a draft?
Yeah, it doesn't.
Even though the draft, only men are subject to forced military.
Politicians already make.
I think we could get. Imagine. Okay, hear me out. If we had women in the military where we could seduce the other side and capture that, you know, have like a man in like nearby, you know, like the one that was gonna save my ass, you know, but use me as like a fish. Come here, kitty. And then bam, tie him up, find out all the information. You don't think I could partake in this? Tell me that wasn't a good idea. Well, Tori, what happens if we don't catch you in time? Well, then I guess men need to become better. Clearly. Asshole. I don't think he would. I don't think men have it in them. And if they do, there's something wrong with them, you know? Not because I'm like, save my life, but just like because we know that men have that sort of instinct. Like if he's not rescuing me, like there's something wrong with him and I picked wrong.
Does that have nothing to do with them? People vote on them, that have nothing to do with them. So yeah.
Charlie's Angels, hell yeah.
Okay. All right. Trying to think where we were.
Can I say one thing?
Go ahead.
I think everyone should be drafted.
Everybody, even the disabled, ma'am. I think it should be everybody, such as
Everyone should be subject to military
Subject to yeah.
Okay.
all of them.
Everyone's
Okay.
going to war.
So Gina, you said, I mean, you kind of already talked about this. You said your primary disagreement with Andrew is that you said you disagree with much of what Andrew Wilson says and the way he says it. I think the tone argument, Andrew, I think you've already addressed it, correct?
And also,
Not in this kid's house, ma'am. Quite honestly, I feel like they'd be fine. No, it'd probably traumatizing. Love them.
Just what I say.
It's how you say it.
How I say it.
Yeah, and
Okay.
since I wrote that, I actually watched Andrew's thing about his tone, and I'm fine with Andrew's tone. He can do what he wants. I still disagree with what he says.
So
Because
you
feel like-
disagreed with the component of what he said about when it came to women being able to be part of the clergy under Christianity. Is
No,
that correct?
I don't have, like, I'm not a clergy, so I don't have a fully informed
Do you think
opinion
it's
about that.
do you think it's like kind of a sexist Christian worldview for women to not
Actually-
be allowed to be clergy?
I mean,
Actually, I
love-
take it back. Get the disabled men there. More resources. Giddy up, Captain. Let's go. I'm lazy. You can just imagine, like, with love, obviously, but like trying to get it. We're in fucking basic training. You have the wall you got to get over. My partner is without a leg, so we're in a wheelchair. I'm making like a type of knot, pulling him over. Okay, bring the chair first. Like, I don't know. I just want to be in a one of those Blackbird fast planes. Like, bye, bitch.
for him to change my opinion on it, but I've been like looking at it in preparation for coming here and thinking about submission, and I don't really understand it, to be honest.
Don't understand women being barred from being clergy.
Especially over other women. Like, if they could help other women, I don't
Well, I think
I
he
don't
said that
understand
they
The
that.
military will not allow anyone with an IQ under 80 because they end up making things worse. I want all the IQ tests of our Marines right now. Like, everybody knows. Like, the highest IQ probably with planes or something, but then you have the Marines who are like cavemen. God bless them. But I wouldn't call them, well, there's certainly smart Marines, but like from my experience, they're batshit. Love them. I mean that with love. The ones that watch me, I've served, and they know you. They're like, "You right?" I'm like, "I know I am." God damn it!
And look, I'm not really an expert on this topic, but
Neither
She
am I.
picks the crayon.
I'm just trying to clarify here. But so you do take issue with the clergy thing.
I don't
Yeah, like
understand why a
IQ.
woman
Okay,
would
I thought
not
it was
be-
being like a dramatic. Okay, IQ 80 is like you literally. Well, let's be polite. Okay, I don't know if I want them with a higher IQ. I don't want them to know what's really going. I'm just kidding. Is that abuse? That would have to be.
Well, I think it's because the Bible
Okay,
says
well,
it.
let's
Well,
start
I
with
love the
first-
verse. Can I
Here,
hear
here we
the
go.
verse?
First Timothy.
Okay, let's
I
hear
do
the
not
verse.
allow women to teach or exercise authority over man, but to remain quiet. For it was Adam who first created, then Eve. Not only that, but of course we have, I don't know, about two.
Thank you for your service, captains. But I still get to make fun of you because I'm just the bartender. Okay. I know all the secrets. Stop it with your Jack and Cokes. Double. You know what I noticed though? They never use their military discount. Like, if I didn't, I always would know when somebody was in the military because I have that skill as a bartender. You can always tell. They're like this. Like, why do you have such good posture? Why do you speak from your diaphragm? There's only two people that do that. New men and like military men. Yeah, that's how I know. I always said if I saw a man in his camis, I'm calling your sergeant. I'm getting you in trouble, you attention-seeking whore. I don't know what's worse, a man in his camis in a grocery store or girls that cry on TikTok for because their boyfriend dumped them. They're pretty equally like annoying to me. Anybody else? Aside from that, I wouldn't be able to be annoying bitch on the internet if it wasn't for them. Love you. Thank you.
2,000 years of church history, which expresses that women are not allowed to be in clergy. Not only that, but
Over
even
men or
Protestants
over
who
women?
aren't part of traditional Christianity. Also, many Protestant sects bar them from being clergy. They're not allowed to be clergy. They're not allowed to teach men. They must submit and
The military
obey. That's
discount is 10%, correct? Is it different in every state? In Illinois, I know it used to be like 10%. So it would get rid of tax. And I always wondered, do they not have to pay tax because they're from the military? Someone want to look that up? Curious. A lot of them won't ask for it though. And I'm like, stop doing that. You need to ask for it, especially at a bar, because a lot of times you need a manager for the button. And like, I'm fast, but I don't like looking for a manager. So I will just comp your drink. It's worth a shot. You might as well do it. And like, I remember who's in the military after you tell me the first time.
The part that you guys on that side of the real good, feel good, good vibrations Christianity don't like. Gives you third dimensional, fourth dimensional bad vibes when patriarchal Christian authority comes out and is like, nah, you got to sit down and shut up because it's not your place to teach. They make some real madsies right in their feels.
Not really, not me. I've just never experienced a man that did that. Like I didn't grow up in church. And I know a lot of women who are great leaders and teach other people. So I'm just confused. Like I get the law. That's the Bible.
Which ones? Which women are great leaders who lead other people? I'm curious. Can you name one that I would know? Name one.
My bosses aren't famous.
What do you want?
My bosses aren't famous, but they're amazing leaders and they run the whole place. So I don't really see it
How about
in
just
my
name a
personal
famous
life.
one for me?
What is it?
I mean, I can't compete with your bosses.
Wait,
right?
you guys want to know something wild? P.
Would...
Diddy was my boss at some point. It's not correct. What are they talking about?
No. Who's a great leader? Who's famous? Name a famous woman who you think is a great leader for me, since there's so many of them. Go ahead.
Torrie Grow. By far. Mm-hmm. Since there's so many. Yeah, shit. I think Melania Trump, although not a leader, has to be like one of the most classy, dressed, beautiful women. I've been saying that since like 2013. Rob Blagojevich's wife, she was a good leader. She was. You're like, Torrie, how do you know that? She read to our class. I have some neurosurgeons that are women that I follow on Instagram that I can't think of. I know Spine Doc. Everybody knows her. She's a leader. Who else? Well, I don't know, Andrew, maybe because the men are hoarding the positions. You want to know something crazy? I have a little conspiracy. I can't say that word. That's bad. YouTube. But can't spell conspiratory without Torrie. Just kidding. I think the reason they don't legalize prostitution or like, yeah, prostitution is because it would transfer too much wealth to women. I'm funny.
Say Golda Meir.
Angela Merkel.
I would say Golda Meir was a great leader. She was the first female prime minister of Israel. And I think she was a great leader. He owned the company DeLeon Tequila. Hear me out. I probably should have explained that. Which is a type of tequila. And we had to do like a promo video at the club I worked at for it. It technically was like Diddy and then a bunch of other people and then us. But that was way back when. He also owns Ciroc, right? Jay-Z's Ace of Spades. Sure. I think she did a lot. Yeah.
What was one policy that she passed?
She passed the policy to help women gain their rights in Israel. So it is a feminist policy, which I know you're against. I can't name it.
You know who's
Yeah,
a
you don't
good
know.
leader?
You don't know anything about her other
Like, I despise feminism, but George Clooney's wife has done some amazing work internationally in regards to it that I actually like. It's more humanitarian work, if I'm being honest, but she's a role model. Rachel, she's a role model. I can name a bunch, Andrew.
than
I do
she just
know about
happened to
her.
be
I do
some
know
leader
about
in
her.
Israel. Angela Merkel was mentioned.
Merkel.
Terrible leader. Absolutely opened up the floodgates for immigration into the EU. Terrible leader. Was at the forefront of trying to rage against what would later become Brexit as well. Terrible leader. So I don't know. Where are all these great female leaders?
I was waiting,
they're in my
I was
personal
waiting for
life.
one to say like Simone de Bois. Okay, if you watch me, this lady was in favor of PDF files. And it is almost the number one feminist that gets quoted in these spaces. It bothers me so fucking much. Michael Foucault, Simone de Bois, you got some explaining to do. Nasties. Shame on you.
Life. Like, are you supposed to say that the
Hold on.
people in my personal life don't matter?
Let me move this on a little bit. What is there anything else besides the clergy thing that you
Well, I'd
disagree
love
with?
for like I mean, maybe it's a personal off like camera subject, but I'm just not convinced. I just don't understand.
But
About
you
what?
made the fucking claim. I hate it here. I can't.
Why women can't be clergy?
Okay, besides
I just
that.
told you.
Besides
I
that.
just told you. The entire.
Okay,
Well,
never mind.
you
I
said
thought we were still
you're
talking
putting-
about leaders. Bye.
Yeah,
Since
and
the beginning,
examples that are
I just read you the letter between Timothy and Paul, where he was instructed that women must shut up and not teach. That is not their place ever.
I understand
do
those
it in
are ancient
Christianity.
times, but also what about women who are teachers? Like, why should they shut up?
Okay,
No one's
you're shifting the
asking them to.
goalposts.
Women
You're shifting the goalposts.
women can teach kindergartners. They can teach high schoolers. Nobody's saying that they can't. We're talking
They
about
just
church.
can't teach
Church.
adults.
He's talking about church.
No, the gospel.
Church.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still
Clergy.
think that women are able to teach it. Like,
Teach. But
I
look,
understand.
If
Okay,
the Bible
also,
says X,
I remember my teacher for CCD was a woman. There's teaching positions in the church, y'all. It's just like not the church. Church. We can be nuns. They scare me. I went to Catholic school, fun fact. The nuns scare me. They're so nice. They're just savage. Like low-key savage. You want a savage career, but you want to be like in line with God. Nuns. 100%.
X. If the Bible
in the
says
Bible,
X,
it says we're supposed to sacrifice animals.
I don't know. Is this the Old
Yes,
Testament?
it does.
No,
In
no,
Exodus,
no,
it
but-
says
Always
you're supposed to
Exodus.
sacrifice animals.
Do you think that we're Jewish? Because we're not Jewish. We're Christians. That
I'm
would be the
Jewish.
opposite of Jewish. We're not Jewish.
Oh,
We don't
God.
sacrifice animals. We follow the New Testament.
It's the New
we
Testament.
do not follow the Old Testament.
That is Old Testament, right, Andrew?
But
Yeah,
in
that
my
would be-
opinion,
that would be
that's
a
Wait,
very
I thought kosher was more ethical. Did that just go like, wait? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Baruch Melaham Kadishanu. Shabbat Shalom. We welcome everybody here. I went to a predominantly Jewish high school. It was a great time. 20 out of 10.
cherry
Religion
picking.
called
That's cherry
Judaism.
picking. You're saying the Bible.
Hold on.
Hold on just a second here. Yo, stay safe. Thank you for the raid, brother. Appreciate it. Hope you had a good stream.
The nuns
Thank
never
you very
let
much. Stay
pee
safe.
on them.
If one of the mods can do a shout out on Twitch, appreciate it, man. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Really quick, guys, twitch.tv/whatever. Yo, stay safe. Thank you again for the raid, man. Really appreciate it. Drop us if you're new from Stay Safe. If you guys can, drop us a little follow
But
in the
it's
chat,
ethical.
guys. We are talking about dating a World of Warcraft player. What's the best, the BIS list for like dating, and we're talking about BIS. We were talking about like the best. I'm not going to go there, but okay. All right, thank you. Stay safe. Appreciate it, man. Okay, do you have any other criticisms besides?
So just real quick to clarify, you can point to Abrahamic religions. Judaism is a different religion than Christianity. Muslims are a different religion than Christianity. They're not the same religion. When you reference the Old Testament alone, you're taking away the entirety of the new covenant. It has nothing to do. Jesus was the final sacrifice. We don't sacrifice
No one cares
animals,
what you
lady.
think. The Bible says exactly what it says. Women are not equal to men, and you should be glad of it. Feminism has failed you. Please get some help.
Like,
Be
Yeah,
better.
Jesus was the
just to
sacrifice.
like clarify, like all religions, I think, if you know religions really well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe they all believe in complementarianism. Is that the word? Like, you'll hear people say they're not equal, but at the same time they're like yin and yang, right? Complementarian with the E. There's complementary, but there's complementary. That one, I think. So I don't know.
Sacrifice. We don't sacrifice animals like heathens. I don't know
agree.
what you're talking about.
I have one last thing to say. So let's say, because I'm new to the idea of submission. Okay. So
I
let's
can see
say,
that.
yeah, I was raised Jewish. Okay.
Just
So
ask
wait,
your-
Wait, who's gonna tell her? Wait, what?
no,
question.
let's say
Wait,
a
hold
woman.
on. Like, my girlfriend just converted. Love her. She told me one of the ways that you can separate like Orthodox from the other one, not New Age. There's another one with an R. Republic? No, that's not the word, is it? I don't know. But one of the ways you can tell is based on, do they wear wigs? And do they wear skirts? Like, my friend converted to Orthodox and she has to wear skirts all the time. She loves it. Like, she loves it. She works out in them, like long ones with leggings, very modest, but like, I don't know. It's just like, what type? Because it's like there's clearly roles. There is. There's a lot of commandments, y'all. 618, I think. A lot of rules. A lot of them.
Let's say a wife submits to her husband, does something that's like shady on her moral compass, but she does it because her husband says yes. Then she gets to God on Judgment Day and she says, but my husband told me to.
Yeah, you have to submit to within.
Because hopefully you only submit to the ones worthy of leadership, damn it. Guys, I'm annoyed.
What is considered rational. But
what if it's on the line? What if it's something very like, if it's about money?
I'm trying to explain it to you.
Do you guys want a croissant? Because I'm going to have one.
You understand? Submission still has to be within the confines of what's rational. We know it's rational because we have church teachings which explain it to us, and an entirety of clergy and a community of support which can help even if an irrational decision is attempted by a husband. You do need to submit, though, to what is rational. As you've seen going around this table tonight, there are women who would rather live in a forest with a bear, and even if a man came out to take them out of the situation, they wouldn't do it. That is irrational. That would be the opposite of submission to the patriarchy. So, yes, submission still needs to be within the confines of rationality, but as I've seen this table tonight, there's not that much of that to go around.
Maybe Brian.
I thought this was a podcast about dating.
Yeah, but it also, there's a section, since we've been talking about dating for hours, where people who are critics of ours can criticize. And so we take it on with the critics. You've talked plenty. There's no reason for us not to be able to engage on this topic.
No, I'm not saying that. I was just curious how it was relating.
Religion is one of the most hot button issues, including when it comes to dating. People don't date outside of religion, for instance. They may not date outside of certain preferences. Religion is definitely keyed in as one of the hot button issues when it comes to dating inside of the United States and the West.
Do you have anything else that you disagree with Andrew on that you wanted to touch on?
Not right now. We can keep moving.
Okay. Going to Ina over here. Ina, you said there's no such thing as 50-50 where you come from, not even a question.
Yeah.
So what do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, I just feel like if a guy wants to go 50-50, he just wants to be friends. And over in that part of the world, men literally buy their potential spouses cars and flowers and do all the things before they get married. So they choose their mate based on who kind of more monetarily brings them.
Well, you're from Ukraine, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And was that your experience, your personal experience in Ukraine?
No, I mean, I came here as a kid. I was like 5,
okay.
I grew up in America. But just knowing like women over there.
But is your standard, are you holding men to this in the US to this Ukrainian standard?
I mean, I've never been asked to pay for a date. I actually had a guy kind of mock me in a way. He's like, "Oh, you want to pay?" And I was like, "I mean, okay."
Okay.
And he's like, "No," like got like really offended about it. Like, I'm not gonna ask you to pay. He was just making fun of it.
You object to 50-50, right?
Yeah.
Just going around the table really quick on this. Are you fine with 50-50 or you prefer a guy to be more provider, pay for first dates?
They're going to say either it's going to be contingent upon who responded before them. But I mean, I'm fine with it. They're not fine with it. Okay. They're not. I think if your first date's coffee, that's like an easy one for girls to pick up the tab. Like, really.
Like paying on a date?
Yeah. But I actually think he should if he asks you out. Yeah. My loofahs are more expensive, therefore. You make more money than me. Please.
I'm down with 50-50.
You're fine with 50-50?
On a date, yeah.
Completely okay, yeah.
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 50-50, yeah.
I think
Oh.
it should be 50-50 because you don't know each other a lot when you're first dating.
So you seem to be a bit an outlier here, Ina. So you are very strongly against 50-50. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the point of provide.
Yeah,
and
it's
protect.
live,
Men
damn
should
it,
be able
Wolf.
To kind of demonstrate that they can provide and protect before you go any further.
I was just curious though, because I noticed when we were talking about the clergy thing, you seem to have a very strong negative reaction to this, what I assume to be your view of this sort of sexist standard against women being able to participate in the clergy under the Christian worldview. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, how I was raised, like my parents' church, there would never be women leaders. And I know people have left who grew up in the United States like me because they did not feel that it was correct that they couldn't lead.
Good.
Wait,
better churches?
I'm sorry?
Guys,
They go to better churches?
they want to get rid of all the male role models. It's like the last place we have any is in the church. Off with them! Like, women really just be like entering male spaces and they don't say it. Like the video.
No, I'm saying like the women left because they couldn't lead. Like,
and you think it was wrong?
Oh, great.
And you think it was wrong that the women were not able to participate in the clergy? You do.
This is a hard one for me.
Okay,
I
do you
mean,
view
I
it
think,
as
I think
sexist?
it's a hard one for me. I still think men should lead.
But you seem to have
and in life and in general.
Okay, I was just a little confused because you, on one hand, you have the, seems like you have a objection or criticism of the whole. You seem to have been upset by Andrew's assertion that women can't be clergy.
Can we move on?
No, I don't. I mean, I don't necessarily. The way that I was raised, they cannot be clergy.
But do you take a quarrel with that? Do you feel it is unjust?
I don't really know how I feel.
Guys in the chat, tell me your worst foodie date that you realized you were on. I still find this mind-boggling. I'm like, you should be embarrassed to eat on the first date. Am I wrong in this? I don't know. I have social anxiety, so it's different. But like, my whole life, I couldn't eat in front of anybody. Now I can, but like, it's like, go use them for food. Like, don't you feel bad? But tell me your worst one. Some of the ones that guys have told me at the bar was like the time where their friends would come. And guys get really mad about that because they're like, they'll order expensive shit. At first, I was like, well, maybe they're afraid that the guy's not going to be who they are. And then I heard somewhere on TikTok where girls couldn't pay for food. So one of the things they did after they paid rent was like go on a date with a guy and bring a friend. And I'm just like, y'all are bold. You're bold. I don't know. Tell me in the chat.
Do you think Jesus was a feminist?
No.
Are
Like
you
I
sure?
said, I think.
Or do you think he would that he was like Buddy Christ, just like in Dogma, where he was like, and he would do that, and he would be here for the selfies and feminism now? Or do you think that Christianity has always been run under a patriarchy, and it has been since Jesus Christ's apostles ran his church, and it was under a patriarchy? Like, which one do you think?
I mean, I do agree that men should lead women. That's all I'm going to really say about that.
But
Wait, wasn't there a whole scandal with the Boy Scouts because the older men were e-parring boys, or was that a myth? I might have that wrong. I think they still exist, though, no? Oh, you're saying because now there's Girl Scouts? Well, we're not bothering you. I love Girl Scouts. Low-key, I have a theory, another conspiratory. I think Girl Scouts is not an organization that donates. I just think it's a cookie company that employs children. I think it's an MLM for kids. Do you remember anything else you did in Girl Scouts? I'll wait.
I seem to remember that you had an objection to the I'm afraid you're attempting to walk it back now because you know exactly what I'm leading you towards. You have an objection of this standard of, well, women should be able to be clergy, yet you have, which you view as sexist, but your view that men should be providers and should pay for first dates is a sexist view. You're holding men to a gender expectation.
I mean, like, what are you saying that I was against what he said? Because I was kind of agreeing with what he was saying, that women shouldn't be leaders. That's how I was raised. My personal feelings about it. It's hard in this type of world, but that's how I was raised, as men should be the ones leading the church.
Well, perhaps I'm misremembering, but it seemed like you did have an objection to the whole women can't be clergy thing.
Wait. I don't have foodie dates. I just call them bad if they late. I just don't like wasting time. Yeah. Just throw the whole bitch away. I don't think guys should get mad at girls that are running late at all, actually. I don't think you should. Quite frankly, ask her to go out at 7:30. Make the reservation for 9. And text her when you leave to drive there. Follow me for more tips. It's like, what restaurants are open till 9? I live in Chicago. Well, I used to. So find one. Town nightclub.
No, I was agreeing with him more so. Like, I think I was nodding my head to something.
Are you pro-choice?
Pro-choice. No, I'm pro-life.
Yeah, pro-abortion?
No, I'm pro-life.
No. And did that come from your parents too?
No, I don't believe you should kill children, even if they're like, even if it's rape or incest or anything. I think the only time it's okay to kill is when the mom's life is at risk.
2 times.
Yeah. Was that part of your upbringing?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So it sounds like your parents had at least a good foothold
He
on
had
what
to ask her
Christianity is
twice.
supposed to be.
Just like,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, well, my
Which is a
dad almost
patriarch.
died in the Soviet Union because he refused to use a gun and shoot people at that time. So the Soviets put him in a coma for like 2 months.
Was he an Eastern Orthodox? Many of them did that.
Wait, what? Where's Shane? Shane, are you in the chat? What are they talking? Put him in a coma for 2 months? That's what they did? I feel like I knew this. I don't know. Anytime I think of Soviet Union, I think of the radio. Y'all know what I'm talking about. The dial radio that they all had in their homes. There's a show. I don't own a TV, so I don't remember. But I remember because I have 2 things that I love so much. And you're going to be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? One of them being tornadoes. Well, actually, 3 things. The Titanic. tornadoes and Chernobyl. And I remember falling down a thing on YouTube about Chernobyl and the city that was like it was like a bunch of young parents, whatever city it was. I can't even think of it. Kiev, whatever. They all had this radio that when the government was making an announcement, you would turn it on and it would be on like a certain, I don't know if it played music or something, but I ended up over there and then somebody talked about a show. And then I went down on this like rabbit hole on this review for a show. And they were talking about how this show got like depicted the whole Chernobyl thing like really well. One of them being the radio. I was like, huh, interesting. If anybody knows or could back up what I'm saying, they've watched it, let me know.
Not sure. I think so.
No, well, if he was in the Soviet Union, he may not have been, but that's a pretty common there. So, yeah, I was just curious.
I do want to bring it back to, I think we went around the table on this.
Might have been that.
Were we talking, did everyone give their answers
No.
to if you consider yourself a feminist? Really quick, just a reminder, show of hands, who here is a feminist? Show of hands, raise them high. Okay, all right. So I just want to kind of get a better sense of that one. So those of you who said you're a feminist, do you believe that there is a patriarchy? Starting with you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Maybe.
Yes.
Okay, can you guys just tell me what the patriarchy is?
Am I? Sorry.
Yeah, just, I'll always start over here.
Oh, okay. Hierarchy of people and the order of how, people in power
Yes.
are and who is looked at as someone who can have power and who cannot, who should not be given power. Does that make sense? I didn't explain that very well, but.
Sure. Okay, what about you?
I think the word gets overused, but my
We watched this.
definition would be that the patriarchy.
We watched this part. This is where they go on forced conscription. If women joined the draft, it would be fun. Duh. Her evolutionary. Wait. This looks good.
Question. Have you ever worked a job?
Oh, I do. I have
Do
two
you have-
jobs
do you
at the
have-
moment.
you have a full-time
and I'm
job?
a full-time student, yes.
Right, yeah. So you're currently in an air-conditioned... It's fine. It's fine. You're currently in an air-conditioned penthouse apartment talking about dating topics, culture war stuff. I kind of want to just say, like, sack up. Like, you've had sourpuss on your face for the past hour. Like, it's not that hard to remain
6
chipper
hours in. Like, Brian, you're savage.
for the duration of the show. I mean, we've been pretty chill about you, like, going back there, being on your phone, whatever. We get it. You have TikTok brain. You're bored. Cool. We get it. It's not that hard to just, like, put on, like,
Do you not normally stay up late?
Bro, it's so funny. These girls will complain, oh, it's 11 p.m. Bro, you party?
No,
You don't party.
no.
You've never been out till 2, 3, 4 a.m. drinking, dancing,
When I was
walking around,
younger,
doing all this
I
shit.
didn't have 2 jobs.
You're
and a
21.
full-time.
You're
When
still
I go
young.
out, I don't get grilled by misogynistic men all the
Okay.
time, and I'm motivated to go out
And-
because it's fun
And you
for
guys
me.
won't answer the questions back.
So hold on. So is Andrew the misogynist? Are we both the misogynist here?
I guess, like, you guys, what do you guys call yourselves? Patriarchists?
I didn't say that. Andrew said that.
Andrew,
Okay, but you said misogynistic man, so I'm going to just assume you were
Yeah,
referring
well,
to-
I don't understand what
You-
patriarchy has to do with
oh,
this.
sorry.
on.
I didn't mean to use a buzzword here. That's not what
well, okay, so I assume you were also referring to
I
me.
feel like I've been super respectful to you.
I didn't
even know
say
what
that
the
you were
complaint is.
disrespecting me. I didn't say that.
Well,
I
then
don't
how
think,
am I a misogynist? I
Darvel.
don't get it.
I'm not going to argue about whether or not about why you think that I am or am not correct in my take of you. It's my take of you, and you can take it or leave it. It really doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Well, hold
I
on.
think you're a misandrist.
Okay, I don't really care what you think.
Yeah, I know,
Okay.
but you should, because
Why should I care what
apparently
you think?
do. You must care what I think, because you had to comment on it, right? You had to say, well, this guy over here who's been nothing but respectful to me the entire night is a misogynist.
Well, you
I don't
criticize us
really
for
know where
being
that came
mute. You
from.
just grilled the shit out of her for not talking.
No, that
and
was
now
me.
I'm talking.
I
Oh,
didn't
you.
I
Sorry.
didn't do
That was
shit.
me.
Okay, sorry.
I've been
Andrew.
sitting here quietly
You just grilled her
listening.
for not
I don't
talking.
know.
Is
I
that
love how
misog-
now she's like focused on Brian. Like, are you not going to apologize to Andrew? Mitch?
Misogynist?
This is why I've
I
never
didn't say
really
that.
thought that me being mean on this podcast, or what is perceived as mean or tone policing, has ever been a problem. I think that women basically just get upset if I disagree with them. That's it.
Well, you disagree
think
on
you guys
every
just get
count. Don't you think
actually
it's kind of
mad.
exhausting to be disagreed with for 6 hours?
To be fair, like, have they been fed respectfully? Like, 6 hours is a long time to have somebody on a podcast. Do they tell them ahead of time it's going to be that long? Like, Fresh and Fit, love them. It's brutal. Like, 4 hours is brutal. Brutal. Especially when you're not getting paid. You know what I mean? I don't know. They need a Snickers. Someone order pizza.
So what?
Good thing I'm getting paid
Have
for
they
this, am I
been
right?
fed? Seriously.
No, I don't know
6
if you are or
hours?
you aren't. It's not my show, but I can tell you this.
Like, let's be
that-
honest.
What is it? What
A
is
wedding
it?
reception is shorter than this. You know what I mean? Like, 6 hours is a long time.
What does it matter if you're grilled for 6 hours? If it's an adversarial dating talk podcast, there's going to be arguments. I mean,
Because I wouldn't do that for fun.
by the way, I don't even feel like you were really grilled.
Um,
Like, I've had some women
what
on
were
the
we
hot
doing
seat
for all this
bad.
time? I think that's fine.
Okay.
And honestly, I've really valued talking to someone who has such starkly different opinions than I do. I think that you would.
Doesn't sound like it. It sounds like you're super upset.
I'm not
Sound
upset.
like you're super mad
I'm
because
just kind
we
of
had a
agitated that
back
you
and
guys are
forth.
grilling us and it's been this long. I'm just saying, like, can you try to find a common ground instead of trying to always be right? Every single time that you've gone around, you're looking for the answers where you can disagree, and then you're trying to prove them wrong.
Yeah, and
What
then
is
you
this
won't answer
kind
the
of argument?
questions that we have for you.
Hold on. No,
like,
no.
did you watch the show before?
No, hold on. First off,
I'll answer the questions you have for me.
Okay.
First off,
I
no, no,
I
no,
have
no,
one
hold
that-
on,
Hang
hold
I just
on.
want to see. Do any of you actually? I bet none of you actually have a single question for me
I do.
that's relevant to any type of argument, topic, anything. Did any of you actually have one?
Hold on. No. Hold on. Let's stay focused here for a second. You levied a very serious accusation towards both me and Andrew. You called us both misogynists. Just want to make sure that's your position.
I'll use the word. Oh wait, actually, kidding. You're not a patriarchist.
I'm not.
If it's
Antagonistic.
which is different than a misogynist, and the thing is, I'm not going to retract my statement because I.
Okay,
Well, then who's trying
But
to
the
be
thing is, you're writing
fucking
that down.
right? You guys are just trying to be right. I'm not. She said that literally every time she spoke. I'm not going to reach. We get it. Okay, you're trying to be right. You're not sorry. Get it. To be fair, though, like, they go on for 7 hours. That's like, that's too long.
On your notepad, like
Not
now
yet.
you're going to try to
I'm not
argue
even-
against
I'm not
me.
even writing
I'm
anything.
not going to
just looking at
argue
my
about
notes.
why I think you're a misogynist. You
Okay.
could tell me that you think I look terrible. You could tell me you think I'm stupid.
Why would I
and,
say that?
And well, I don't know. If you take it misogynist as an insult, then too bad.
I typically, if I receive an ad hom, I don't return it with an ad hom.
It's like, says the girl that was mad that they called them 304s. Why do you shame them? The contradictions, y'all. I can't.
But
Okay.
I will just ask, since you use the word, how do you define misogyny?
Well, the thing is, I think that misogyny and patriarchy sometimes get blurred.
He asked you
Well,
what
They're
it
two
is.
distinct things. So how do you define misogyny?
I would say
A hatred.
men thinking that they are superior to women.
That would be discriminatory, wouldn't it? I don't know. This shit always fucks me up.
Okay. So what have I said that would lead you to believe that I'm a misogynist using your definition?
They were talking about Christian and why they can't. Oh, they're talking about because they can't be clergy. Bring that up with God, you know? What? They're just a messenger.
every single
misogyny.
argument that you've made on this podcast, specifically
me
the ones
one.
about the
No,
patriarchy.
you could not name one female leader. She named one, but like that was good. There are like many opportunities. I named a few. And there's your answers. They're telling you you're appealing to emotion. They can't see it. They can't. At least not in the middle of being triggered. I wouldn't either. Because you have to remember, a lot of the people that go on these shows don't really understand what they're going to say to them unless they do research like they should, but they just hear snippets. So when they hear things that they get triggered by or it sounds like it, they will throw it all in one category. It's like TLDR, too long, didn't read. But when Brian or Andrew tries to explain how they got to that answer, they're already triggered. That's why it's important to know your opponent.
What was the argument that I made?
Gorge.
You
That was
whined about being
misogynistic.
about how you were subject to the draft for an hour.
How could that possibly be misogynistic for me to point out a way in which men are disadvantaged? How would that have anything to do with, because I argued about men being subject to military conscription would be me saying that men are superior to women? That's actually me arguing that men are disadvantaged compared to
Well, maybe
women.
I'm lumping you and Andrew together. Maybe Andrew wants to speak on this. Actually, please don't.
Well, okay, you can shift the goalpost here, but you did direct it towards me, so.
Well, I'm sorry if I insulted you. I don't really. The thing is, you're arguing with me, and I'm
She's
trying
hungry.
to explain myself to you, and I don't think that you really care about what I have to say. I think you just want to be right. So,
Well, I'm trying to understand.
She's projecting. Girl, you're projecting because literally you won't say sorry for anything. And is that a want to be right? Yes, but I can't explain why. Why?
Lobbied.
I have a Dalmatian that is just head on my, like, knocking everything down. Okay. She's feeling better.
a accusation towards me that I'm a misogynist, and it's not clear. I'm asking how. Articulate how.
You
Because
brought
I
a bunch of
disagree
women
with you?
into a room under the guise we were going to talk about dating,
We
and then
did.
proceeded to bring up barely, and you proceeded to bring up every hot political topic you possibly could, and then argued
Mm-hmm.
against us on our views. And I'm not saying that's innately misogynist. I just think that
What's
it
your point?
was at its least irritating. And you know what? If you don't like the idea of tone police, then that's fine. I'm not going to sit here and try to explain my reality to you over and over again. It's exhausting.
Still not clear how that's misogynistic.
Well, that's fine. You can figure it
but
out yourself then. Maybe you can do some internal thinking.
Ladies, if you're ever frustrated with men, it's like, I get it. I'm a bitch. You need to use the word empathy and putting somebody in somebody else's shoes. Am I saying that they're not being empathetic? No, I'm not saying that. I actually think they would understand where she's coming from. But that seems to be the thing that women get frustrated about, but they never seem to be able to articulate it. My opinion.
I did the internal thinking, and I still haven't
Okay.
arrived at
Well, then,
how it's misogynistic.
well, then
Well,
you
you and Andrew both said that you believe that men are superior to women.
I never play that shit back. Never said that.
You said that you don't think that women should be in the clergy. Isn't that a subordinate?
I'm not even religious, but
But you
look,
said
for
that
example,
to me looking in my eye.
Yes. Well, no. Hold on. So I'm not a Muslim, but I can acknowledge that in the Muslim faith, my understanding of the Muslim faith, you can't eat pork. That doesn't make me a Muslim. Okay. So my understanding of the Christian faith, I can acknowledge that there's certain Bible verses, there's ecclesiastical, theological doctrine, right? That doesn't mean that I necessarily agree with it. For example, I don't want to get married.
I agree with her.
I don't want to get married.
I think
but
that you have come at it like from a hateful stance. To
What?
be honest.
Okay.
Ranzu
Now it's
donated
hateful. Okay.
$200.
Yeah.
You're being grilled because your worldview is garbage. Red shirt. Andrew's being exceptionally nice. When you speak, all I hear is a noisy tiredfish. You spoke for 3 hours and said nothing useful.
Okay.
That's not true.
I'm going to shift off her. I'm going to ask you. You said that I'm coming at it hatefully.
Mhm.
Articulate to me what I've said that is hateful?
I mean, I think it would be more about tone, which nobody likes
Too
to hear.
Quick Nick donated $200.
It's not the way you say.
Back
It's not
to
what you
dating
say. It's the
Brian.
way you say.
Ask them what their peen size preference is. Uncooked spaghetti, tuna can. Let's get the party started.
Hold on, I can come back to that a little bit, but okay. What precisely have I said that's hateful?
I think that the way that you bring up arguments is in a hateful way.
Give me an example.
The example would be like even with the man versus bear thing, how you bring it up again and again. Like, in my opinion, to me, it looks like you're doing it in order to make women look a certain way.
Well, how am I trying to make women look a certain way if I remain?
Because you disagree with them.
If I
That's
remain
why.
totally
You
hold
disagree
on.
with them.
Yeah.
If I remain totally silent and I let all of you not only give your answer but give an explanation to your answer, how is that me being hateful or me trying to make?
Because, Brian, you're not the one in the woods with the bear, showing a lack of empathy. Not saying it's right, but I do get it. It's a valid point, valid criticism. Did they bring it up a lot? I find that Brian would bring it up because he's like upset about it. I think that, like, if I had to guess, both of these men are like, you hate men that much that you really think that they would be these horrible. But I think it started a great conversation on empathy, because originally the whole bear versus man thing came up because women women started to ask their husband or their dad, would you rather leave me or like our daughter alone in the woods with a bear or a man? And it was the men that hesitated and they could not pick it. And then it snowballed into this. But I think it did allow men to get an idea of how women feel about a certain thing, whether it's rational or not. It's like, there's a lot of things that piss men off. Is it rational to kill the guy because your girlfriend cheated with that guy? Or should, you know what I mean? It's like, it's a take.
Make women look a certain way. You guys all gave your answers. And I would actually, let me turn this around at you.
Okay.
I can make a stronger argument. So your argument is, by virtue of you bringing up this man versus bear debate, that's hateful. I can make a stronger argument that your answers to the actual question, when it comes to your bias and bigotry towards men, is more misandrist and more hateful than your perception that by virtue of me bringing it up, that is hateful.
What's my bias towards men?
You would rather be alone.
Okay, my dog needs me. Okay, she's crying for me. I'm coming, honey. Like the video, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. If you like these sorts of videos. Obviously, if you want to watch the rest of the fight, you can either watch tomorrow. We'll cover it. I know we've had to do it in bits. Or you could go to their channel and watch it. But yeah, it looks like we're in the middle of the fucking explosive disagreement. So sorry, bad cutoff point, but you can call me a lot of things. You can't call me a bad dog mom. So bye.